Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Token City show. The Token Club by Token City was recently launched, a new space to master tokenization with the pioneers. Token City has tokenized all types of real-world assets, such as goods, services, or financial assets, and created one of the first regulated tokenized asset exchanges in Europe to make investment and financing more accessible on a global scale. From the basics of tokenization to deep dives into the technological and regulatory aspects, as well as all about the financial, investing, and even marketing side of working with tokenized assets, the Token Club provides you with a wealth of knowledge and resources to propel you into the world of tokenization alongside the top leaders in the space. The Token Club also provides a community where participants have exclusive access to the best professionals covering all aspects of asset tokenization. The first webinar will be open to everyone on May 7th at 7 p.m. Central European Time. Join Alfredo Muñoz, Professor of Trade Law at the Complutense University and of Counsel at Grant Thornton and Seca Magan Abogados, Virginia Garcia Trevijano, Founding Partner at Abaco Markets, and Yael Waknin, Token City CEO, who will discuss how tokenization has become such a large trend. You will have the opportunity to ask questions and interact directly with them. And now, let's go on with our guest for today. Her name is Brigitte Piniewski. Working at the intersection of medicine, decentralized technology, and AI, she is at the forefront of Web3 healthcare evolution, highlighting the immense possibilities of securely channeling crowdsourced health expression datasets for AI training. And she has a seminal book written, Wealthcare, Demystifying Web3 and the Rise of Personal Data Economies, also available as an NFT. And this book is an essential guide for anyone aiming to spearhead innovations in healthcare. Dr. Piniewski is here today to tell us all about blockchain and healthcare. Hi, Brigitte. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So you have a model for healthcare data that can massively improve our health outcomes through a combination of blockchain and AI. Please explain it to us so that our audience can understand what this entails.
Absolutely. So I began my career in general practice and obstetrics, so did a lot of deliveries and thought if we just did those 9 months correctly, we would be launching our babies off to 100 years of good health. But clearly that's not the case. We have increasingly more and more complex and early onset diseases happening while our world advances in technology with more and more products and services, some of which cause health harms that we're unaware of. You know, fertilizers, microplastics, air quality changes, etc. And so over the years, I found that it is increasingly difficult to keep our patients healthy, that we're kind of the last of the accidentally well. Our parents didn't have to know how to feed us or move us. We basically had access to our genetic potential without necessarily earning or deserving it. These conditions on the ground have changed dramatically. Now we need a new approach to ensuring that younger people can remain healthy throughout the decades of their lives. And luckily, alongside, we have more and more advances in wearables and devices and AI to make this a reality.
Understood. So regarding what you explain in your book, the three-layered data model that can massively expand our healthcare outcomes. Could you explain that to our audience?
Certainly. So just in terms of the models that have been used previously, for instance, in Denmark, they used a large language model and their citizenry offered high-resolution details of their day-to-day lives in such a way that the large language models could very accurately predict future health outcomes to a degree that we have not seen previously. But the problem with, of course, the Denmark solution is that other nations don't have the same relationship with their citizenry. Here in the US, for instance, our population would need very large assurances of privacy and security in order to participate with digitizing the minutiae of their lives. And therefore, I offer in the book a 3-zone model, where zone 1 is your home base. This is where you safely and securely document and store the day-to-day minutiae of your lives, such that device, app data, laboratory data, health visit data could all be secured in such a way that you would not need to rely on your memory when going to different health visits across the world. So zone 1 is that absolute safe and secure home base, your life ticker tape, if you think of it that way, a longitudinal health record that has much more than what exists currently in the electronic health record. And then zone 2 is a continuous, non-rivalrous AI that looks at correlations across home bases in order to surface those things that matter for individuals in time to make a difference. There's no IP here, there's no commercialization in zone 2, but zone 2 protects zone 1 from what we're calling zone 3, which is everybody else, those groups that actually want your data. So that's governments, industry, researchers, and others, and that's the area of commercialization. So insights that are pre-approved from zone 2 are served up to zone 3, such that scientific rigor can be added to those correlations and new products and services can exist.
Okay, so in this model, this layered model, patients or citizens in general would have like a single source of data accumulation. For example, in today's world, you could connect that zone 1 with all types of wearables, right? Like Apple Watches and fitness wearables and so on. And that would increase a lot, and is supposed to increase a lot in the future, the amount of data available, right?
Exactly. Increase the amount of data that's available, as well as fill a big hole in the current ability to train AI. AI just has access to health record data today, which is simply disease management and billing management data. There's no real true health data in that data set. And so what we're describing is a future where each of us have access to think of it as a crowd in your pocket, where you have access to the entire compendium of human health experience in such a way that should you have any adverse outcome in terms of health diagnosis in the future, you can easily ask your crowd, if it's migraines that you're dealing with, how many people with migraines in Spain that exist in this type of work environment and have this type of family environment, what works for them best. And so we see a future where individually specific health intelligence becomes the norm, and that the ability to surface and make transparent what's working and what's not working at an individually specific level is something that all of us live our lives with.
Okay, and can you tell us, are there any examples that are already live being applied of this model?
Yes, certainly. So we see solutions such as the Hair DAO or Vita DAO or Athena DAO. These are groups that have already coalesced to solve problems that are specific to them. So for instance, the Hair DAO is a group of over 1,300 males who are interested in in hair replacement therapies. So all of them participate in using various products and services, make that experience available to the rest of the group. And in this way, they can surface what works and what doesn't work without us having to figure that out as an N of one. I always say that, rugged individualism is a myth. We need each other's health experience in order to sort out what actually will work for us in time for us to use it. It'll take too long for us to figure that out as a single individual. You also see this in the cannabis industry, where the cannabis industry, of course, is outside of healthcare to begin with. And yet we have seed-to-sale legislation that gives us the DNA of the cannabis that individuals are using. And then they add privately and securely their experience with that product. And together, the individuals and the crowd are amassing the reliable science by which they can all determine which product will work for me for what reasons.
Very interesting. So the way you describe it, there's a lot of value in gathering as much data as possible about yourself, but it may be even more powerful the fact that you can correlate that to plethora of other similar data points from countless other users in that model one can envision. And I would like you to touch on, given that setup, on the incentives by institutions to participate and of the users to engage with these institutions.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a very good point. We've basically survived with healthcare as fragmented as it is, because there was no better option. And so today we still have a healthcare that only has health intelligence based on population data. And that means, if you're serving a population, the vast majority are going to have an average outcome. But at the end of the day, not one of us is a population. We all exist as individuals, and none of us want average as an outcome, especially if it's complicated like a cancer diagnosis. Therefore, what we're looking at is a future where we go away from the current model, which just offers average to individuals, and provide enough fidelity such that the outlier experience or the best experience is something that can be achievable. And this is something that will help incumbents understand that achieving the best outcome is something that then becomes possible for all of us. So participants would participate in that they would not just use, wearables and apps to produce health benefit for themselves, but also to produce health intelligence at a mass participation scale that would enable us to tokenize those data packets such that economic exchange could occur as well. So looking at a future where your health data doesn't just exist as personal insights. The way we see it today, every app you use just reflects your own data back at you. And how many weeks of your own sleep data is useful. It would be much better for us to move into a future where we understood sleep in terms of what's reachable for us as individuals, and that this would be something that entire groups could participate in financially as well. And therefore that tokenization of the data makes sense now that we have the technology that will allow us to tokenize on a micro level data packets and track where they're being used into perpetuity. So I think that there's an opportunity here for a win-win. The industry, of course, is currently missing that true health data set, your movement, nutrition, sleep, air quality, pesticide, hair products use, etc. And the incumbents, the individuals, have an opportunity to finally ask those questions that are specific to them and their health outcomes.
Could you expand a little bit, what would be, in your opinion, the end state of such a health intelligence in the ecosystem you are describing?
So the end state, think of it as society's next wealth inflection. So we had the industrial era, and then the internet era, and the internet era allowed us to co-create much more value together. And now, today, we just have a handful of companies, large mega companies transacting on our data on a regular basis. But think of the end state as a future whereby we, the individual citizens, are also transacting on our data. So moving from 5 mega companies into, relatively millions and billions of people constantly generating and transacting on authentic life streams of each other's real life experiences, and that this would lift not just the health intelligence, but also the wealth that we could co-produce with each other. Each insight that is generated through crowd participation and delivered to Zone 3 is essentially providing a product market fit by design, because it's the free living system that surfaced that correlation to begin with. And so I see a much more rapid evolution of concrete truths served up by the free living system, and the ability to convert those into products, services, and commercialization opportunities for the entire ecosystem. And then, of course, we should talk about AI alignment, in that that is a big issue to focus on, given the pace of AI advancement that we're experiencing currently, and remind ourselves that actually AI doesn't have any human health data to train on currently, because we're all physical beings, and so our health expression is physical first. AI is powerless in the face of physical information. It requires zeros and ones. And just using the health data that we currently have, disease management and billing data, will be insufficient to align AI to humanity into perpetuity. And so we, the people, have a significant responsibility and role to participate in creating that minutia that would allow AI to grow with us and understand what really drives human thriving throughout the planet.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like an extremely powerful combination. I was also thinking that the way you describe how people share and interact and benefit from the common use of that data is more or less the same vision that there is, for example, in the art world, people creating art and receiving royalties for the transmission of ownership of that art. And yeah, basically a whole ecosystem that is underlaid by blockchain technology to ensure the proper management of ownership and rights. Really sounds very interesting. I also wanted to ask you, where health coins, which there are some examples of those, how do you see health coins fitting in with this vision?
Yeah, and I love your description, Javier. The example of music and writing, creative human production, those things have been tokenized well and are a good example for us. We should think of our health expression as a creative expression. Each of us does health differently. And so think of the future as a place where there's a marketplace where you can have access to the authentic life tracks of millions of people. And that this is something that is available to all of us. Excuse me. And the coins, of course, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. You tokenize the data packets in order to both control how they're used throughout the ecosystem, as well as to track any follow-on value created, such that those individuals who participated in creating the early insights can be rewarded into perpetuity with respect to sharing financial gains. This is something that doesn't happen today in the healthcare industry. Healthcare does use our data on a regular basis and creates economic benefit from that use, but individuals are excluded from participating. So I see a future or an end state that enables each of us to participate economically in the health intelligence that we've provided the information to generate in the first place. Perhaps at some point it will be such that automation takes over all of the less desirable jobs on the planet, and we, the people, can engage more aggressively in ensuring that our home base is populated with very diverse contextual data that enhances our ability to use our data in open marketplaces.
And in the context of using this to the full extent, you say that younger generations are currently at greater health risk. Can you explain a little bit of that for us?
Yeah, I touched on that briefly in the beginning when I mentioned that we're no longer accidentally well. In older generations, their food source was mostly farm food. Today we have an industrial food complex that has created nutrition that doesn't resemble what older generations had access to. So the younger generations not only have different nutritional streams, their movement, we've automated movement out of our society. We drive everywhere. We have elevators, etc. And sleep, 24/7. You can be on a screen now. Older generations would go stir crazy and have to go outside to run around and play. Today, kids their brain is kept so busy with a screen that their brain doesn't ask their body to move anymore. And so as we see more and more, activity-based employment be replaced by knowledge-based employment, the conditions on the grounds have changed so dramatically that what I talk about in the book is that we used to think it took 4 decades of less optimal lifestyle to give you diabetes, heart disease, stroke. But what we're seeing with the younger generations, because the conditions have changed so dramatically, just 4 years, not 4 decades, 4 years of puberty can be so hormonally altered that young people are entering, early diabetes, heart disease, stroke at a time when they're too young to even provide informed consent with respect to what's happening to them. And so there is urgency here because, of course, every 4 years, another cohort transitions through puberty. And therefore, ensuring that we have the ability to understand what it means to transition through puberty safely, that's not going to be a new drug. It's going to be lifestyle management. And this is something that all of us will need to inform.
Understood. I also wanted to ask you, A16Z, which is a legendary investment venture capitalist, said that the largest company in the world will be a healthcare company. What can you tell us behind the reasoning of that assertion?
Yeah, so A16Z is Andreessen Horowitz, and they put out a paper about a year ago talking about the biggest company in the world being a consumer-obsessed healthcare company. They didn't put a lot of details around it other than talking about whether it would be a vertical or a horizontal play. But I think what makes a lot of sense is the fact that, of course, healthcare already in the US makes up 20% of the GDP. So healthcare is a big industry, but the real innovation opportunity here is to flip the script. Today, everybody is on standby waiting for healthcare to look after them in a reactive way once they become ill. the biggest company in the world can create a new type of relationship with the citizenry, a relationship where there is willingness and mass participation to roll up our sleeves and generate the health data streams that will allow us to see into the future in time to make a difference. And so I think the opportunity clearly is here for us to co-produce the health intelligence that we need on an individual basis. But as we're producing that health intelligence, we are also co-producing the next lift in wealth production.
Okay, understood. So we are approaching the end of the interview. I'd like to ask you, what do you think are the main takeaways of everything we have discussed for our audience?
So the important thing is, of course, that AI is here, but AI is missing, or think of it this way, AI is only as good as the training data that it has to work on. And I think it's important for people to recognize that this hole in terms of the AI's blind spot, that's something that we, the people, can participate and create a solution to. And that by doing so, we'll benefit, yes, ourselves, but also each other in ways that would not be possible otherwise. This is not something industry alone can do. It will require mass participation on a population basis. And the good news is the technology is here today to ensure privacy and security can be maintained while we convert our digital health, while we convert our physical health expressions into digital health expressions.
Fantastic. So now my last questions for you is, whatever you want to tell us, where can people find you? Anything you want.
Oh, sure. So you can find me on LinkedIn. The book Wealthcare, Demystifying Web3 and the Rise of Personal Data Economies is available through Amazon and through Alexandria Labs and OpenSea as an NFT. There's a couple of quick posts in LinkedIn, so if you don't have time or interest in reading a book, there's quick posts on this topic that are AI's blind spot and who could have spared Kate her diagnosis. Of course, Kate Middleton recently diagnosed with a cancer of some nature. Again, all these examples of cancers that should not have happened on our watch, and what it would take to reverse course so that this is not something that we continuously have to struggle with. So go there. And then if any of your audiences are interested in coming to Boston in September 24th, the Boston Blockchain Association is hosting a day seminar that will cover these topics and this opportunity to create a significant shift in the way in which we think about health. Remember, Bitcoin did nothing to finance, it just showed up alongside and provided an alternative way of exchanging value. I see the same thing happening in healthcare. We're not doing anything to disrupt the current model, but there will be an opportunity for individuals to participate in their health in ways that wasn't possible previously.
Fascinating. Thank you so much, Brigitte. This has been such a fascinating topic. We will be keeping a close eye into developments in the space, and we thank you for your participation. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Great talking with you.
Same.
Have a wonderful day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This was all for today. We had Brigitte Piniewski tell us all about the state of the art in healthcare and blockchain and AI. If you want to check out the Token Club, please search online the Token Club by Token City. Have a good night and thank you. Bye-bye.